everyone.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back to the Winter Garden Challenge. I hope that you are inspired. I hope that little intro video just gives a boost of inspiration every night because it's fun. Yeah, so we are back with day number 5 of the Winter Garden Challenge, and you all are the ones that have persevered through this challenge and made it all the way down to now. So we've talked about all kinds of things, from choosing what to grow to when to plant out your plantings to laying out your garden plans, succession planting, and tonight we're wrapping it up
with protection.
Protection, yes, and it's probably like this is one of the biggest things that people think about when it comes to the winter garden.
I think that's the first thing that comes to your mind if you're wanting to grow through the winter.
So why in the world do we put it at the end?
Because there's a lot of other stuff that you don't think about that is really critical.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're trying to do is take you through a step-by-step process, right? Step 1, choose what you're going to grow, etc., down through it. And we're going to pull up some slides here in a second, but just want to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Let us know in the chat if you can see, if you can hear us. We want to make sure that that all our tech is going okay. I think that it is so far. How's the homework been going? You've been planning out your garden? Do you feel like you're ready to get going with your winter garden, fall garden, as it were, coming up soon? I'm going to pull up some slides here. We're going to run through some quick little introduction to our session tonight. All good. See you in here. Good. Awesome. Great to see you guys in the chat. So, Winter Gardening Challenge, day 5, protecting your winter crops. And once again, like every other night, we do have free giveaways tonight. The big giveaway tonight is 1 year of unlimited access to Seed Time, including unlimited access to the calendars, task list, journal, classroom, future releases, and more. So someone stick with us to the end of the session tonight, and we're going to do that drawing. We'll let you know the keyword to put in to the chat, and we'll do a drawing at the end. So 1 year of unlimited access to Seed Time. If you have not done it yet, go grab your free Seed Time account. I know we said this every single night, but it's literally free. So there's nothing to lose. And it's one of the best and easiest ways to get started with planning your fall garden. And of course, we've been using it throughout the challenge, just walking you through. It's where you can easily have that garden planning worksheet. I mean, you can use that worksheet in the dashboard, but what we really encourage is pulling up that worksheet and walking through it with your Seed Time account, adding those crops into your calendar, adding them into the layout if you've upgraded for the layout access, and keeping track of your seed order. What do you have on hand? What do you need to purchase? And just staying much more organized there. So go grab your free Seed Time account. Tonight, we are on day 5. We've already kind of gone through the recap here, but just a quick bird's eye view, protecting your winter crops. This kind of pulls everything together and says, okay, now that you've chosen what you're going to grow and you've gotten it started, how are you going to protect it in the winter? And what is that all about? And how can you do that without breaking your pocketbook and without losing your shirt at the same time, right? Quick reminder that replays and resources are on seedtime.us/challenge. That's your dashboard that has everything. All of the special feature segments that were pre-recorded, the replays of the live sessions, and those replays we are going to be leaving up for about another week. So jump in there and watch them while you can. They will come down unless you got lifetime access to the replays, in which case we'll be giving you that as well, and you can access them for life. Another reminder here that we have our special sale going on in the Seed Time store. You can get up to 20% off exclusive store discounts. It's 20% off all seed packets during this event. So go grab your seed order while you can there with that discount. And then there's other discounts we'll highlight a little bit more later in the session here as well. And one last quick little plug, we have one last VIP session. So if you have a burning question that has not been answered yet and you've not been able to get it answered in the chat because we have way too many questions that come through in the live session to answer everything, we have one more VIP session tomorrow that you could jump in with if you go to seedtime.us/VIP access. Otherwise, quick little shout out to Megan Long, who went through our Winter Garden Challenge last year. And on December 9, here was her lettuce and gem romaines and spinach growing under her little hoop. And I wanted to put this one in here because it shows a very simple protection.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Because what we're wanting to do is inspire you that this is doable and you can do it, and other people have done it before you. And so you can absolutely do this in your garden. All right, now is a great time to silence distractions. Turn off your phone, turn off your Facebook. I should check my phone and make sure that it's silenced as well during this session. And it's time to focus in because we are going to get started. We have a very special guest speaker, Melissa Norris, today. And I'm going to invite Luke Hammond, our awesome
our person who's going to announce who's coming on next.
Yeah,
that was just announced.
Luke is going to do our special announcement of Melissa Norris. So transition over to you, Luke.
Awesome. Well, hey, everyone. It has been my privilege to actually be on the team trying to bring on our speakers for this whole week. And I hope you've enjoyed that speaker lineup from not only the live sessions to all the pre-recorded sessions. We put a lot of time and thought into who we invite on, and really a lot of like fingers crossed prayer, like maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say yes. And, I'm kind of that guy who reaches out to them and I'm like, hey, is there any way that maybe you would come on? And oftentimes I'm kind of like reaching at the stars, right? And I feel like this guest, Melissa K. Norris, is one of those people that has just been in the homesteading space, the pioneering space. She's a pioneer of the new homesteading pioneer movement, right? And she's been teaching gardening. She's been teaching livestock management. She has been inspiring tens of thousands of people to millions of people all over the globe to kind of jump back to this old way of life and this beautiful, wonderful, awesome way of life. And she is so encouraging, so inspiring. So it is my privilege to bring on the brand Melissa K. Norris. Melissa, welcome to the stage.
Boy, I told him if I get red, it's not because I'm embarrassed, but now I'm blushing just a little bit.
Yeah.
For all of you who also are having this heat spell, it is 90 degrees out right now and I don't have air conditioning. So if you are a little bit warm, those pictures that we just saw of the winter gardening and the snow is like, that kind of sounds a little bit nice right now. So I was using that imagery to try and stay cool. So welcome, guys. I am really excited to talk about this topic because I don't know about you. If you've never grown food in winter before, like fresh harvest produce, because I do a lot of preserving. We preserve a lot of food, especially the summer crops. And when I first started being able to go out and I figured out how to harvest fresh vegetables outside in wintertime, it was almost like, I think I'm cheating. Like, am I cheating? But kind of in an excited way. And that probably sounded very weird to say, like, you get excited about cheating, because bad cheating is, obviously not something we're endorsing. But it's one of those things that when you nail down winter gardening and winter harvesting, oh my goodness, it is so exciting. So I'm very excited to get to share with you about this topic. So we're going to pray that the good Lord allows my internet to connect to my slide deck with you guys. So hold on just a sec. With rural internet, you're never exactly sure if it's going to keep going. Okay, so yay, it worked. All right, so we are going to be talking about winter garden protection. So I see some of you in the comments and we already are blessed to know one another, but there's a lot of you on here tonight. So that's exciting. So I'm sure that there's some new faces, some folks that I don't know. So short intro after that lovely, very flattering intro that Luke gave is, my name is Melissa K. Norris. If we've not had the pleasure of meeting before, you may recognize my website, which is my name. There's a lot of articles on there, videos and tutorials. You might be familiar with my YouTube channel, Melissa K. Norris with Modern Homesteading, or my podcast, the Pioneering Today podcast. And if not, then those are some great resources to help you on your gardening journey, preserving the harvest and all things modern homesteading. I'm also the founder and lead teacher at the Pioneering Today Academy. So that's where I have a lot of very in-depth courses where I can go deeper with people, and we have our community and really go through things and walk you through them in a guided step-by-step way. Just a little bit about me. I am married to Clay, who you see here with our two kiddos on the screen. We will be celebrating 25 years of marriage this coming September. I've got two teens. My son is 19. I'm not going to be able to say teen very much longer, and my daughter. And we live on 55 acres in Western Washington State. We're pretty far north, up in the foothills. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes south of the Canadian border, just to give you a little bit of context there on how far north we are. And for our family of four, we raise 99% of our own meat, which is grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pork, and chicken, along with ducks for eggs. We do 70% of our fruit and 65% of our vegetables, and that's for the entire year, meaning during the growing season, and then we preserve the rest to take us through for our family of four. We are 100% sufficient with our heat. Have a wood stove and provide that from our property. And then we produce about 50% of our own herbal medicine. And the produce production part of the herbs, fruit, and vegetables, all of that we do on just an acre of our yard. So even though we have a lot of acreage for our livestock, our actual fruit, vegetable, and herbal production is on a relatively small. Now, I know that's perspective. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, I would love to have an acre to grow things. But that acre includes our house and that type of thing. So it's really more on about probably a quarter to a half acre of actually planted things. So what we need to talk about, and some of this might have been covered, so just consider this a little bit of recap, but especially with our winter garden protection, is understanding the needs of each of the crops that you're trying or wanting to grow and harvest throughout the fall and winter months. We are going to be talking about frost tolerant and cool weather crops, their temperature ranges, and then what type of protection that we're able to offer those. So it's very helpful for you to know when your first average frost dates hit. Of course, if you've been planning out your fall winter gardening, you already know about that because you've reverse counted back when you're going to be putting these crops in, because all of our annual vegetable production revolves around that first average frost date. So helpful to know that, as well as what your average low winter temperatures are, both in the daytime and then of course your overnight lows. This is all points of data that's very helpful for us to know how much protection we actually need to be giving our crops, and what we can realistically expect for our area to be able to grow throughout the winter months. As I shared, I live in Western Washington State, so I am technically growing zone 6 with the new configuration of that, which for me means our lowest overnight low is 5 degrees. But we really are in an average space more throughout the winter months of in the 20s to the high 30s, but we can get some lows where we dip down quite cold. So it's important for you to know that. And then I'll be obviously sharing the context of what we're growing and the experiments that we've done within that realm. But I say that because there is no way without a heat source. And I would also have to have light sources because I'm so far north and we have very short daylight hours this far north in the middle of winter. I'm not going to be able to grow tomatoes throughout the winter months and expect to get a harvest without a heat source and a light source. So that's not something I'm even going to attempt. So that's why I say kind of knowing what your average temps are and then what the temps of that crop is so that we can be realistic in what we're going to be able to grow in our geographical locations. So these are crops that withstand 32 to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've got beets, carrots, cauliflower, chard, cool weather lettuce varieties, and rutabaga. So that means from this 32 to 28 degree mark, these are they're not going to kill them. They're going to be able to keep growing. Like they're going to be okay within these degrees without any protection. So this would just be normal in your garden space. So it's a decent list here once you start to hit those frosts and they get down to that 28 degrees. But then we have a list of crops, which is going to be on the next screen. So get ready, prepare your heart. Maybe you're screenshotting or furiously taking notes here, that will withstand even cooler temps. And these lists of crops, both this slide and the next one I'm going to share with you, as I said, this is without any type of protection. So this is really key. These crops will withstand 28 degrees Fahrenheit and lower. So we've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, garlic, radish, rutabaga, spinach, and turnip. So between these two slides, that's actually a really good amount of crops and food that are going to survive some pretty cold and at least frost temperatures. Now, again, depending on how cold you are and how far these are going to withstand, and I will also say that this is when these crops are already at their established close to harvesting state. So if you had been late, if you hadn't done your planning quite right, and you had been late and these degrees come in and these are little small baby starts where their leaves are still quite tender, their roots are closer to the surface of the soil, etc., you possibly could see some significant frost damage, especially if they're really small and tender, hitting these temps. These are once they are established adult, mature plants. So just want to put that preface there. Okay. So how we go about protecting these crops, though, so that we can withstand and have them throughout the winter months if we're colder than what those temps are. So if you're pretty mild winter and you're like, I don't really get below that, then that is fantastic. You're going to be able to just keep these all throughout the winter. But for those of us who get colder temps or maybe some cold snaps come through, you're going to want to know exactly which methods work. So what I'm first sharing with you are the easiest ways that require the least amount of protection in order to be able to harvest and to keep these plants going throughout the fall and into the winter months. So what you see first here on the screen is those are beet greens. And we are, at the time that this photo was taken, we were sliding into frost. So beets, of course, are closer to the surface of the soil, which means they will be affected by a lot of hard frost, especially if you get hard frost where you have freezing and thawing cycles, which is what I have. So meaning you're going to hit a freeze, but then you're going to hit a period where you come up above freezing and then you're going to hit another freeze. That's actually really hard on the root vegetables. And so that can, oftentimes that will lead to rot. Whereas if they would just stay frozen and cold, it would be better than a freeze thaw cycle. So I know for my beets that I can usually leave them in the ground and just fine without very much protection throughout the month of October and into the first part of November. Then I'm going to hit too many freeze thaw cycles where they're going to start to rot and turn to mush unless I mulch them. So I can mulch my beets with straw. You can use leaves, whatever you've got available to create some insulation. And if I can get down about a good 4 to 6 inches of mulch on the top, that's enough with my temps for me to be able to keep the beets in the ground and just go and pull and harvest at will. Because my snows don't typically hit in our area till the end of December, first part of January, before we really get big snows, where I'll want to have things harvested up because it's a little bit hard to dig through the snow. However, snow is extremely insulating. So if you get snow, it can actually insulate the crops quite well and keep them. The problem is you have to dig through the snow if you want to dig through snow or not, depending on how much you get. So I found that I can keep my beets in the ground all the way through December successfully as long as I mulch at that end part. And then for me, I usually am just going to go ahead and pull up what's left in the ground in December, and then I'll preserve them in another manner. But it gives me quite an extended time without doing anything except adding mulch. And of course, mulch is good for our garden soil and improving the soil for spring planting and production for the following year anyway. So it's kind of like a win-win. Here, what you see is actually some radishes that I've got in there, as well as some carrots. And so carrots are really hardy. They're hardier than beets, at least in my experience, as far as going through freezes and thaw freeze cycles. So again, I will leave the carrots in the ground as well as my radishes, and I simply mulch them. And I will leave my carrots in the ground all the way through. This past winter, we're down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit for about a 5-day period. And I only had about 2 inches of mulch on my carrots. And that wasn't enough because unfortunately they did freeze all the way. And then when we warmed up, of course, then they rotted because they froze all the way and then they thawed. However, that is the first year that I've had that happen. Historically, I've been leaving our carrots in the ground and just going and pulling them up, and they have been fine, but I did not mulch heavily. So knowing how heavy to get your mulch is really key in order to keep them in the ground. Now, some of you may be watching this and you're like, well, sis, that's great. But like we get in the negatives or we stay at 5 degrees or in single digits for extended parts of the winter. And so in that, I'll show you as we get further down the slide, some further areas of protection. But again, knowing how much protection those actually will provide, then that's when you can pull up your carrots, put them in a sand or sawdust that's damp in a box where it won't freeze, and keep them in an area like a garage or an insulated basement, that type of thing, to mimic that, which I know is not quite growing, but it allows you to keep these in the ground a lot further. And then you can pull them up and store them a little bit that way. So it's kind of like a hybrid between preserving and growing throughout the winter months. So this is same thing I do with our potatoes. I will grow a late planting. This is key. I grow a late planting of good storage variety potatoes. So German butterball is one of our favorites. The fingerlings this doesn't work as well with, though I do love a good fingerling potato. And then of Burbanks, russets work well with this. It just needs to be a good storage variety is key when you're trying to do these methods and to grow these for a longer period of time. So I do a later summer planting of our potatoes so that they're just coming to harvest time right when we start to get our killing frost, where it's going to kill all the top part, which you can see here. Most of the top of the vines are dying back. We've had a frost at this point, and they're almost all dead. So at that point, all of the potatoes underneath the ground are fully formed and are at harvestable size. Same thing. I put down about 6 to 8 inches of straw and cover those up. And then I just come out and I will time it like, oh, we're going to get a snow or we're going to get a super hard freeze. And I know I want potatoes for the next 2 weeks. I come out and I dig up for however long that time frame is estimated to last for us. We'll dig those up, bring them in the house, because potatoes will keep in the house just in your regular setting for at least a couple of weeks. It's long-term that they need cooler temps and correct humidity for long-term storage. And then by then for us, it's past. And so even this past year when we were 5 degrees Fahrenheit, I had the very top layer of a few of the potatoes that were closer to the surface did freeze, but I still had potatoes that I was digging out of the ground and harvesting in March, which by then we're technically into spring. So this method can work really well, again, depending on how deep they are in the ground and then how much you're insulating based upon what your winter night temps are. Here I've got Brussels sprouts, and our Brussels sprouts, I just leave unprotected. Brussels sprouts, by the way, once they go through a frost, their flavor is greatly improved. They become much sweeter. And so your timing again is really key. You want them at that harvestable size or almost harvestable size right when your first frosts hit. And just like they do with carrots, and this happens with Brussels sprouts, they just have a completely different flavor. It's just so much better. So always let your Brussels sprouts go through a frost if possible. But then I leave them and I will come out and harvest them clear through Christmas without doing anything. Now, once again, this is knowing your weather pattern. Once you start to hit those really deep freezes where you're down in the teens for extended periods of day, if you're going to hit a thaw cycle, then you're going to want to come out and harvest them before then, because then once they thaw, once they've been that frozen, not just with frost, but we're talking deep freezes, then they can get mushy and that type of thing. And they're a lot taller, so the mulching doesn't really work with the Brussels sprouts. But I have had them go for months clear into winter and all the way through fall. Next is kale. Same thing. Kale is extremely hardy. This is curly Russian kale. I do nothing with the kale. I don't cover it. I don't mulch it. And it will reach kind of a hibernation phase. So by the time your frosts come, and again, I'm so far north, we have very shortened daylight hours by then, it stays the size that it is. So what you see right here, this photo was taken in November. It will stay that size until we come through into spring, and then it will start growing again in a lot of cases. or I just pull it out and I'm ready to put something new in that spot with crop rotation if I've harvested the majority of it. So the good news is, though, you can see that's some beautiful looking kale. I just come out and harvest kale as needed, and it just trucks all the way through the fall and the winter. I've had it covered in snow, and then the snow will start to melt, and I'll come back out and grab some kale leaves, and it just does really well without any additional protection. Now, we're going to be talking some protection because I know some of you are cooler and some of you colder than I am. And some of you probably are also like, okay, well, what about those crops that wouldn't quite go down that cold? Like, how do I extend the growing period of them? So depending on the size of the plant, so this can work really well with lettuce, cauliflower, cabbage heads, right? It's just going to depend on the size, because the key with winter protection is you do not want the leaves of the plant to touch whatever is covering it, because if it's touching, so let's I actually think I had cool weather lettuce under this. You can't see because of the condensation when I was doing this. But if the leaf of the lettuce was touching whatever that plastic side, in this case, is just a storage bin that's clear plastic. If it was touching it and it froze, then that cold will transfer right to it. We actually need an inner layer of air that acts as a protection unit. So it is key that whatever you're using, once we start using any type of plastic, greenhouse plastic, or these plastic containers, that we've got the air insulation between the leaf and then the actual part that's going to be frozen or hitting those really cold temps, because otherwise it can transfer through to the plant, and you can get it'll burn and kill the part of the leaf that's touching it. So just keep that in mind. So this works well for smaller plants. And this is just, I mean, you can get them at, any store. It's just a clear plastic tub. Now, I know in this context, we're talking about fall and winter protection, but this also works very well in the spring. So if you're wanting to get spring crops in a little bit earlier to extend that growing season, this works really well, because in spring, obviously, we're putting out smaller plants and smaller starts. So it can work in the fall and winter too, depending upon the size of the plant that you're trying to cover and protect. Now, how much protection, however, does something like this offer? Well, there's a couple of things. First, air layer, right? I think we established that. Y'all got that. You're a quick crowd. It does need to be sealed to the ground, to the dirt. So you want to make sure that the dirt, you go around the edge when you're putting this on at night, or if it's for daytime, depending if it's for nighttime protection or daytime protection, depending on how low you're getting. Just make sure that it's sealed, right? Because if you have some high lows with your soil, then obviously that cold air is going to go sneak right in there. So you want it to be sealed up nice and tight to your soil line. But in my experience, for your overnight low, when you use this method, you will get about 5 to 7 degrees extra protection. So if the overnight air low is 30 degrees Fahrenheit and you put this on, it'll keep the internal temperature about 35 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. So just know that's about how much protection you're going to get from that. So that is definitely enough to keep something alive. However, if you are, it's a crop that is only surviving down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit and you're hitting 10 degrees Fahrenheit, this likely isn't going to keep it alive. You're going to need greater protection, and we're going to talk about some of those methods. But just so you have a very realistic picture of how much protection it's giving. So you can also get these. So if you've got rows, right, and a little bit bigger, this is just using the greenhouse plastic, the thicker ML, and it's in an accordion. I've gotten these off Amazon. I've never actually seen them in our local stores. So I've ordered this off of Amazon, and the particular one that you're seeing there, you can get them in slightly different heights. They do have some slightly higher ones. You can also get them in the frost protection fabric or in the greenhouse one. I have found for myself, I like the greenhouse plastic because that tends to trap more of my daytime temps a little bit better throughout the night. And I just leave them under there the entire time. So I'm kind of trying to take advantage of any solar warmth that's coming through during the day. So especially if it's a clear day, here, clear days are generally warmer for most folks when the sun's actually coming out, right? But then because it is clear, our overnight lows drop more. If it's a cloudy night, then we don't get quite as cold overnight. So I like to harness any solar energy that's coming through from the sun. And I've found that I just personally prefer that, but I'm leaving them on usually by the time we hit fall and winter, because even with that solar sun, it's not getting too hot inside, but it's getting it warm enough inside, and then it's keeping that in there throughout the night. But again, it really only offers about an 8-degree protection or increase in temperature from the lowest of your overnight low. Now, here's where you can use window. We're using window technique, and we're using the ground, because obviously we know soil, when you go down, right, it's really great because in the summer, it can help keep things cooler if you didn't have the glass on top. But in the winter and the colder months, right, it stays a little bit more even temperature. Now that, the deeper you go, like an actual root cellar, of course, is going to determine that. But if you can dig down, and the key is orienting this to the sun, the position of the sun in the sky. So you're going to want to have the back side, which is a little bit hard to tell from this angle. The back side of my soil, I actually have elevated. So this is at a little bit of a pitch. And then the back part is up higher, and then we have it lower with the angle of the sun coming in. So I'm matching the low part, right? So that the high part's elevated to try to catch all of the sun, the rays that are coming through, because in the wintertime, being this far north, the sun is quite lower in the sky for us at that point than it is in summer when it's more overhead. So you do want to pay attention, if you're doing something like this, to where the sun will be at when you're trying to grow your crops. And so I use this in the early spring, and then you can use it again in the fall. Of course, that there is glass. So if you have pets, if you have small children, I have this marked with some rebar and some fluorescent tape, right? Like, it's glass. So let's use caution. But these are some really old windows from a demo. And so they worked out quite well in us repurposing them and using them in some different smaller ways to make still unheated. But this was kind of the same thing. I found that this offered about 8 to 10 degrees extra protection from the lowest overnight low. Now here's, again, using more of those windows. Here is out in the garden where I used straw bales. And so the back is a straw bale turned on end. So again, we have that elevation on the back side. And then I broke the straw bales down to still keep it elevated. But this was nice. It created a bigger growing space with more height. And that straw is a really great insulator. And then we were trapping the heat on the top. And so depending on how warm it was getting, because this was a bigger area, I had more glass surface, I had more area being trapped. Sometimes during the day, if the sun was out and it was a really sunny day, I would have to come out and slide the glass during the hottest part of the day, and then slide it back so I could still capture some heat at the end of the day, and then have that sealed up come nighttime. So some of these may or may not require a little bit more diligence on your part, depending on what daytime temperatures are. Now here is, I call this a high tunnel. So this is completely unheated. There is no heat source to this. And I actually grow my tomatoes in it during the summer months, because we typically here where I live get a lot of rain, and I battle with blight. So growing my tomatoes, I don't have any overhead rain. And so I don't have to deal with any blight or powdery downy mildew issues in the high tunnel. What this structure actually is years ago, we bought this as like a carport from Costco. You see those like car or boat
Looks like we were losing Melissa. Melissa,
Okay, I think
come
I'm back. If I
Yes,
blinked
you're
out, it's just
back.
my lovely rural internet.
Good
Am I back,
deal.
guys?
Yes, you're back, Melissa. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Good
Okay.
deal. Yeah, continue on.
Okay, awesome. Um, So what we did is we just bought greenhouse plastic and the metal fasteners, because the frame was metal and you could drill into it. So my husband put a cross piece that you can see there. What's nice about this is it's pitched, so I can stand all the way up on the inside, and then we can lift the ends up during the summer months. You can see that plastic is rolled up there on the ends for airflow, because if not, this is so effective during the summer. If you don't lift those up and it's a hot sunny day, it can get like 150 degrees inside, which cooks tomatoes. Tomatoes like heat, but not that much. So this allows us during the summer months to use this space. And then once the frosts come, and of course tomatoes are gone, I put lettuce in here and some of those cool weather crops. And I have harvested lettuce in the middle of February when we had 2.5 feet of snow on the ground. And I actually ended up stepping down in it because the snow was so high that it was like crawling down to get inside the high tunnel. And I was harvesting fresh lettuce in the middle of a huge snowstorm without heat. Again, no heat, no grow lights. So just a high tunnel because it's high enough, it's above ground and it's high enough to walk in and out of. So this structure has been fabulous for us. And we've been using the same greenhouse plastic and fasteners when we originally did this. And we're going on 10 years now for just an old used metal carport framework. So we really, really like this one. Now here is where you can double up. So again, that high tunnel, when it's all closed up at night, offers about 5 to 8 degrees from the overnight lowest low temp increase in temperature protection. But with lettuce, you can double up. So here it's in the high tunnel, all closed up. And then I've got one of the little row cover tunnels with another layer of greenhouse plastic. You basically double it. So I can get about 16 degrees from my overnight low. So that's an actual big increase. So anytime you can double up those layers, you're going to just add about the same level of protection times 2. I've never tried it times 3. That could be really interesting, but I've never usually had any containers or areas that were big enough to add 3 layers on top of it. I've only tested it to 2 and then tested temperature. So this can work really well though. And you could even do the same thing. Maybe you didn't have a high tunnel, but you had a smaller thing of plastic that you could put on. And then you could put another layer of frost protection, frost blanket or greenhouse plastic like these tunnels on top of that and execute the same thing and get that double protection. So again, I've got a lot of different tutorials and videos walking through these things and gardening advice, etc., and homesteading stuff on my website. So would love to connect with you guys there. And those are the methods that I have used, and they have allowed us to grow and harvest crops all the way through into the winter and then even into the following spring in some instances. So I hope that these gave you some ideas and some starting points, and also realistic that you can, even in a very northern climate, that there are ways without a heated greenhouse, without electricity, without grow lights, to extend that harvest season and extend the growing season, even in harsher climates. Okay. And I think my internet's making it.
Wow, you're there. You're
I'm
there.
here.
You're there. Wow, that was terrific. Can everybody just say in the chat, Melissa, you're the best. We love you. We learned so much.
I hope you guys learned some stuff.
So, everyone's like, man, I love her site. Wonderful info. Thank you.
Oh,
Loving it,
thanks,
loving it.
guys.
Well, we are going to shift into our sponsor section. And some people say, I'm like Oprah coming out here saying, and you get a car, and you get a car. But just so you guys can get going, we are going to give one more Sproutlet away. So if you want to type in the chat Sprout, you're going to be entered for a chance to win a Sproutlet. So while we're there and while you guys are entering Sprout in the chat for the drawing, I'm going to go ahead and shout out to some of our sponsors for the event. One of our sponsors, Homesteading Family, Josh and Carolyn Thomas, good friends of ours. They have the $1 special on their 3 magazine, 3-month issue. You've got to check that out. Homestead Kitchen. If you're interested in ramping up your kitchen for the winter garden, I think this would be awesome for $1, folks. Also, Bug Hut. Bug Hut is the soil amendment company specializing in making things easy for you with products like Boost, Enhance, and some other things. De-Stress, I think, is the favorite one. De-Stress. Let's face it, folks. It is hot right now. I think most of your guys' comments were like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. It's so hot. All across the nation, we have this huge heat wave. That's where you come in with this product, De-Stress, and it helps really provide relief for your plants, and they come back and bounce back very well. So I highly recommend that. Acres USA, another publication magazine with amazing content. They also have this huge event coming up, I believe, in Wisconsin in December. Make sure you check out the Acres event. Jump in to the Seed Time store. Check out all the books that Acres is the supplier for us. Thank you, Acres, for your sponsorship. And tonight, our featured sponsor is Farmer's Friend, and they are giving you a crazy special, $100 off of a tunnel or BOGO. BOGO, I'm guessing, is
Buy one, get one
off.
50% off. Yeah, so it's usually
I'm
like BOGO, buy one, get one free.
Apparently,
but
I'm like BOGO. What's a BOGO? I'm not familiar with the BOGO product, but 50% off of Quick Plant Fabric, which you guys are probably familiar with. Also for them, we have a short little video just highlighting some of their Caterpillar tunnels and what they have there. So Paul, can you hit that video? So while those tunnels, as you can see, they can shrink down. You just don't add as many hoops, and you can order them for just 25 feet long, 14 feet wide. And it is a great way to add maybe a little bit of a ramp up compared to the carport. If you already have a carport, great. Or if you find a deal on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, something like that. I have personally built greenhouses out of carports before. And I say greenhouse because I actually did add heat to it. I've also used them as tunnels, but now I grow in Farmer's Friend tunnels and even bigger high tunnels. But as most of you say in the chat, does this even apply to me? You're growing way too much. Like, you're a farmer, not a home gardener. And so the reality is all of the things that are taught can be scalable down to whatever size grower you are. So with that, I think we're ready for the drawing. I think we had about 50,000. I'm going to guess 862 people, 491. Right. Some of you don't want to win.
Yeah, apparently not. All right. 3, 2, 1. And the winner is. Dun, 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 dun. We need music. Like next time we do this, we need music.
Oh, that's the wrong kind of music.
Yeah, not that music.
Paula Jackson.
Congratulations, Paula.
Yes, congratulations. We're writing your name down here, Paula, and please email support@seedtime.us. We want to get to your information so that we can send you your free sproutlet.
Congratulations, Paula. Again, email support@seedtime.us and just give us your address and say, hey, I want a sproutlet.
Yeah, awesome.
Very cool. And now I'm going to do the introduction to the man, the myth, the legend, the owners of Seed Time, Paul and Edwin Dysinger.
Oh boy, we have the best team, y'all.
We do.
Yeah, it's been so much fun as Seed Time has grown, and we've been building out a team. At the end here, we'll introduce each of them to you more. But huge, yeah. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing with us those simple practicals. I just wanted to highlight one comment that was in the chat saying they were just so encouraged to see something at a home level, because multiple of our speakers have been small scale farmers. And so even though they're sharing principles, they're sharing pictures of like small scale farms. And so it was refreshing for some of our viewers to see it at a home level. We started out at the home level with Luke Marion, with My Gardener, and then Melissa Norris here, just seeing those practical examples of how you can protect your garden. Now, how many of you would like to see a short video clip series going through a winter, like October, November, December, January, February? We just before this session, I pulled together a short little, because every month we get on with a group of special gardeners that we do some live group coaching with, and we answer their questions and we show a garden update. And so we got all these videos from the past. And okay, I see a lot of yeses in there. And just wanted to share this as a potential little inspirational to you, and to be able to see like, what does this look like in real life as I'm taking this through from month to month. And one little thing that we should say from the start here is that this garden that you're seeing is actually a home scale garden.
It is.
You're going to see it in a large hoop house, because we do have a large hoop house, but we are growing for ourselves. So it was, I think through all of this was not just for our family or just for your family. I think we were doing this together throughout the whole, all of the videos that I'm going to be sharing here. And we still do that. Actually, we still grow in the same hoop house. So you're going to see it. And the other thing is that there were a couple months that my dad did have a separate garden, and it showed his. And so I just pulled from a different year for those 2 months, so that you could see it kind of consistently through the hoop house gardening here. So I'm going to pull up this garden, and what we're going to do is we're going to just talk over it as we walk through. So we're going to start off here in October. And you can see we have some carrots here in the ground in October. On the right-hand side, you'll see those looks like a kind of brassica mix. We got baby greens. Look at that cilantro.
Yeah.
Do you remember this, Dad? This was actually a little bit ago. This wasn't this year.
A few years ago.
Yeah. Some arugula here, and
lettuce.
Head lettuce growing. Coming down here, we've got Swiss
chard.
Yeah.
And broccoli.
Let's see if we can name it all. Kale. So this is what your garden could look like in October. This is zone 7. November, we're moving on. You can see we have strawberries planted there, because we're going to overwinter those strawberries.
Those strawberries got planted really late that year.
They did,
but they did okay.
Yeah, they bounced back in the spring.
Yeah,
we actually had some pest pressure on them as well. We ended up having to cover them with row covers and stuff just to keep the pests. But look at this, November broccoli there. Now, November, where we are, we're getting frosts. So these are, you'll see these hoops there. Those are called quick hoops. And we're pulling row covers over those on the coldest nights.
It's plastic EMT, the gray plastic EMT.
What's nicer is a metal conduit pipe with a bender from Johnny's. All right, here we are in December. What do we have here?
That looks like...
I think that's garlic.
Yeah, I think so.
And we have broccoli here. We actually, this year, we had sprouting broccoli that just kept on going. And we harvested it through December. And I think we're going to see coming up into January, actually. But as you can see, there is some leaf damage on there. Or maybe there's just like older leaves. The plants are getting older.
There was some pest damage.
And you'll see that in your winter garden. You know, some of your plants. Yeah.
More lettuce. Those are Hackeri turnips. They're a fresh salad turnip from Asia, and they are so nice, and they do really well in the winter.
So sweet.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming into January here. This is really the coldest month for us in Tennessee. And look at this, we still have fresh broccoli going. It has gone through multiple hard freezes, but with the
row covers under the plastic.
Yep.
So I believe we were pulling 2 row covers if it got really cold.
While you guys are going through this, can you go ahead and talk about winter watering techniques and how much water you're adding to this?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we have where our tunnel is, we didn't level the spot, which, you know, it would be ideal to level it, but we didn't.
Oops, February. Sorry.
Yeah. And so we have some water flow that goes. I mean, it's not flowing in the ground, but the soil stays moist all winter long. And so we don't usually water in there in the wintertime.
You do see the drip lines going down there. And being that it is in a hoop house, the soil does dry out a little bit more than if it was outside. So I feel like there was maybe a couple times that we watered, but it was not very.
Yeah.
not-
But I
not
mean,
very
when we
much.
put the crops in the fall, we were watering.
Yep.
And so that's why the lines are there.
You can see the garlic has grown a little bit more
Yeah.
there. And the strawberries there. All right.
The strawberries are still behind.
Coming up to March. Yeah. Coming up to March here. And these are some leeks, I believe, right here that are going in. And you're going to see the strawberries again. We've got a bed there that we're going to be planting peas, I believe, coming up soon. You're going to see that in the next month. Strawberries are growing, and got the garlic is up nice.
Nice, yeah.
Yep. It's coming along. And starts. March is the time for starts. So we got starts coming on and getting ready to be transplanted out into the garden at that time. I don't know what is happening here. It's supposed to be April. All right. So this is a look at what the garden looks like in April. This is the last month we'll show you here because April is our average last frost. You can see the strawberries.
They're bearing. You can see red strawberries on them.
Yep. We'll show you a strawberry up closer here. And from here on out, we're going into the spring and summer growing, and it's clear sailing once your average last frost date hits. You can see we've got peas there with the trellis. We've got leeks there growing at the end there, and yeah.
So as my brother was saying last night, it's relatively easy to have a winter harvest through December, even January. Once you get into February and March, that is really, if you can get a harvest during those months, you'll know that you're really doing well. Those are the hardest months to get a harvest out of.
Yep. All right. That actually wraps up the little video there. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little inspiration and show you what it actually looks like in real life, going through a garden through an entire season. Now, how many of you would like to see a kind of a slow walkthrough in seed time of a season? We did this pretty quickly the other night, but we could show you just kind of like a week by week through a season as the crops go in and out. Let us know in the chat if that's something that you're interested in, and we can pull that up as well. All right. And
Teresa's asking how big the hoop house was. It's a 35 by 110.
all right. All right. I'm seeing a lot of yeses here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a seed time account here. And this is an example garden. Okay. This is an example garden, and we're just going to walk you through this. I'm going to sort it up here by the in-ground date, and we're going to walk you through this plan as if these crops are going in and coming out of the garden, so you can see what a succession planting plan can look like and what it means to have a continual harvest out of your garden through the winter months, right? So let's start off here at the beginning of August. So we've got peppers, squash, tomatoes, potatoes. These are our summer crops here. Got some lettuce growing underneath. We're doing some companion planting there. And then we've got our fall lettuces starting to come in here as well. Down here, we have green beans in this bed. This is going to be our legumes bed. This is going to be our leaf bed up here. So we're going to move forward. You're going to see our broccolis coming in here, a succession planting of lettuce here. In fact, I'm going to filter this down just to lettuce so you can see what these succession plantings of lettuce look like. Watch, there's another third succession planting of lettuce coming up here. But as I move forward here, you're going to see that third succession of planting lettuce go in here. We've got beets down here, carrots down here, dill, basil, cilantro coming in.
What was the second legume down there? Was that
another green beans?
Okay.
I think I said peas earlier, but they're both green
Green
beans.
beans,
It was just
yeah.
succession planting of green beans. as we move forward, you're going to notice that these lettuce plantings are all filled up. So where's this next one going to go? Well, watch this. It's being transplanted around the same time that this first one is being harvested. So we can actually drop it back into that location. So now this is lettuce number 4 instead of lettuce number 1. As the green beans come out here, we can have a fall crop of cabbages going in down here. Because we're overwintering cabbages, you're going to want to have some more cabbages because you're harvesting them off of them for a longer period of time. We're going to keep moving forward. There's radishes that have come in down here. Keep moving forward. And you're going to watch as we end up putting in multiple plantings of lettuce down in this bed down here. This is to have that continual harvest of lettuce through the winter as well. Once again, you want to be planting more because some of these plantings are actually going to be harvesting over like 6 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on how many plantings you put in and how quickly you harvest off of them. But their growth is really super slowed down. So they're not growing very fast. You're just kind of holding them over. So we're filling out this bed with lettuce down here. We're going to be harvesting off of that through the whole winter here. And our cabbages up here have come out. We're going to keep moving forward. Our lettuces up here are starting to harvest out. Our broccoli is harvesting out. If, in the videos we just saw, we actually were able to keep our broccoli going into January. So that could potentially keep going there. Our kale, we're just keeping on harvesting off of it, and Swiss chard. Going to keep moving along here. And as we come into February, you're going to start seeing some lettuces starting to come back in for our spring lettuce plantings. We're harvesting out the winter ones.
Scroll it up. So
Yep.
yeah. So you notice there was a length of time here that from halfway through November through almost the end of January, we were not seeding, but we're still getting the harvest.
Yeah.
Just, right after the.
And I'm going to credit Ray Tyler for this specific lettuce plan because he lives in this pretty similar same zone as us here in Tennessee. And this is actually his plan. We did an event with him back in the day, and I built out his plan and we went through it. So this is his lettuce plan. You'll see once more our spring lettuces coming in down there. And as we move into the spring, we are moving our root crops up to this bed. So we're making our crop rotation on across those winter months. We're going to start rotating our crops. So you notice that we did a lot of lettuce successions in the same bed. And then as the winter went on, we moved our lettuces and greens down into here. So our spring greens are going to be down here, our spring cabbage and kale, and our roots are going to move from this bed up to this bed up here. So we got our spring carrots coming in here. I'm going to bring this down so we can just keep walking through. We got our spring carrots coming in there. We've got Swiss chard, spring Swiss chard, broccoli. We've got green beans and peas. So we got some early spring peas, and then we got some green beans that are direct seeding right after the average last frost here. And our spring beets and carrots and onions and parsley and herbs and radishes have moved up into this bed up here. And our summer crops are just starting to go in. So we've got some potatoes in here. Boom. Now lands the summer. Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, squash. We're going to keep moving forward. And we've got our lettuce. You're seeing them kind of pop out and pop back in down here as succession plantings go in and out. Our peas came out, and so we have a succession planting of green beans that takes its place. And this bed ended up getting quite empty through the middle of the summer. So we said, hey, why not put some mixed species cover crop in there to tide over that time frame? And the same down here with these greens through the summer. We can put in some mixed species cover crop down here as well. These are succession plantings of green beans. Our first planting has come out, and our third planting of green beans, these are bush beans, is in. So we're just kind of have a continual harvest of bush beans through the season. And all of a sudden, we have some fall cabbages coming in here, and we're going to move on into the fall season once again and we're back. We just went through a whole year. So that's August. We're back into September. And just wanted to show you that as an example of what can happen if you walk through your season step by step and you set up your succession plantings. You can really maximize your space in your garden. You could grow a ton of food, and then using just those simple protection methods during the winter. All right. And Kathy, the good news is that this is recorded, so you can watch the replay of this afterwards as well. Otherwise, I'm going to pull up our slides again. And here we go. And how many of you would like to see a little sneak peek of a brand new part of a feature in Seed Time that just got released today? This is pretty exciting. During this event, we've actually done multiple releases in Seed Time. If you were on Wednesday, we released the companion Seed Time companion app became available on Google Play. It actually became available, I think, on Tuesday, but we made the announcement on Wednesday. So that was a big, huge thing. We went from 83 crops and 3,497 varieties up to 132 crops with 10,467 listed varieties in Seed Time. And we began on the new custom task flow. And that is where I want to show you the new feature that just landed today in Seed Time. So I'm going to pull Seed Time back up here, because for the first time, you are now able to, I'm just going to load up a cabbage here. Actually, I'm going to do it with a new crop here. So I'm going to say I'm going to add lettuce, and let me go over to a, you know what? I'm just going to make a new calendar because I want you to see what happens when we actually add a crop into the calendar. So here we go. Going to turn on all of our task filters. And then when you now add a crop in Seed Time, let's say we're going to add some lettuce, under the advanced settings, when you drop it down, remember, we talked about how we have just restructured this. So you see the tasks all stacked on top of each other. And with each task, you can click on it and you can edit the settings for that task. So seeding is going to be either relative to frost or a manual date. But we've just added this note here. This is an anchor task. So this is the task that everything else is relative off of. For example, transplanting here starts 28 days after seeding, and you can edit that there as well. However, what's new is that for the first time, you can now actually delete tasks. So if you do not care about bed preparation, for example, instead of just filtering it out in the calendar, you can click delete, and boom, that task is gone. Same with cultivating. You don't want cultivating? Click delete, boom, that task is gone. Now you just have seeding, transplanting, and harvesting. You can schedule that lettuce into your plan with just those tasks, and you have a lot more customizability than you used to. And by the way, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because coming up next after this is being able to edit all of the fields of those tasks, add your own custom tasks, and create your own custom workflows.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about, being able to create custom workflows.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. All right. Let me pull up our slides here again, and we are going to do a quick little recap as we flow into the last part of this session and moving on to our Q&A. So this just in, deleting tasks in Seed Time. We are very excited about that. And for those of you who may not have been on Wednesday, I'm going to do a fly through of our future releases of Seed Time and the special offer that we have going on right now, because this is where Seed Time is headed and where we are going with the platform. And we'd love to share it with you and hopefully catch the vision of the awesome community that is being built here. So with Seed Time, we're going to be building out those custom tasks. You saw just the glimpses of the beginning of those. However, coming up right on the heels of that, we're going to also be building out Seed Time weather, so you can have historical weather data directly in your calendar, as well as future forecasting. You can see that whenever you jump into your calendar. You can see those visually. Does that sound like a dream? We're also going to be adding Seed Time inventory so that you never have to be wondering what you have on hand or what you need to purchase. You'd be able to easily keep track of your inventory directly in SeedTime. On top of that, we are going to be building out SeedTime records. So if you're crazy about records and you just wish you could keep track of how many tomatoes you were able to harvest, it's going to be one of the easiest ways to just click on the task, say it was done, and enter the record. And a bunch of things are going to go in the back end recorded, like what variety it was, what date it happened on, all this stuff. Boom, into your records. And then with that, we can't make records without analytics, right? Because spreadsheets can be overwhelming, mind-boggling, but we're going to create a way that you can easily see those in a visual way, whether it be graphs or comparing year to year. Awesome, fun stuff that is coming down the road. And so for all of you who have said, or if you haven't yet been on one of these sessions and heard the question, how many of you like the idea of having that fresh harvest from week to week out of your garden, right? Putting something on your table, feeding your family with something fresh every single week out of the year. For all of you that said yes, and you want to do it without the struggle and the frustration of doing it on your own, or asking Google, when should I seed my lettuce, right? And manually putting it into a calendar and it just overwhelming. That is exactly what SeedTime was built for. Like CJ here, who said, I now have a clear plan of what to do when. Jen, fairly new gardener, this is so helpful. Callie, SeedTime definitely made it easier to plan and stay on task and be confident that I'm planting things at the right time. For Stacy, it was organization, really helped me be less anxious about growing everything, gave me a ton of confidence in managing a whole garden. And if you like that, if you want that type of results and that type of experience in your garden, then here's what we're really excited about sharing with you during this event. You see, it does take all of us together to bring SeedTime to life. SeedTime from the beginning has been built by the gardening community. As we mentioned on Wednesday, we actually launched the first prototype of SeedTime in connection with a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. That means people just like you funded the very beginning of building SeedTime. It was really fun. It was funded in 10 minutes, became the second most funded app on Kickstarter at the time of the launch. But that's not really what we want to highlight. What we want to highlight is that even though it was super crazy and fun experience, what it highlights is this isn't our project. It's not just our project. SeedTime is a community project. You all are part of it. Even just being part of this event, you are part of the SeedTime project. Your feedback helps guide us as we build it out. And so if you're catching that vision and you'd like to experience that less stress and overwhelm planning and growing your garden or farm, and would love to help support this project at the same time, here's what we're excited about sharing with you tonight and during this event. Because right now, we are hosting a fundraiser to continue building out SeedTime into the best garden and farm planner ever, which means we're opening up an opportunity for you to get, drum roll, once again, if for some reason you weren't able to be there on Wednesday night, $100 off lifetime access to SeedTime or 40% off your first year of access to SeedTime. And we just want to reiterate that lifetime accounts are not open to the public. We only open them during special enrollment periods like this one. In fact, they're not even available inside your SeedTime account. But for a limited time, we're going to open up that opportunity for you to jump in and never have to worry about paying again. So if you like that idea, if you think it sounds cool, then here's what's included with your SeedTime Basic or Unlimited account. Okay, so here's everything that you get. I'm going to scroll through this quickly. I know that's a review for some of you, but for those who weren't here earlier, I'm going to list it at the unlimited level. You get unlimited calendars, built-in crop categories, planting schedules, unlimited custom crop categories, unlimited custom crop varieties. That means you can add in your own custom crops and varieties. You get unlimited layouts in the new SeedTime layout planner that we were just walking through there, plus unlimited access to the SeedTime tasks, journal, classroom, and community. Anything that does not have, anything that has the asterisks is not included with a free account. There's a lot you can do with a free account, but the upgraded account just really gives you all the bells and whistles. You also get access to the SeedTime store with the current 20% off all seed packets in the SeedTime store and the future releases of SeedTime weather, inventory, records, and analytics. And by far the best opportunity to do that right now is with the lifetime account, where you can get $100 off at full price. They are $497, but right now you can jump in for $100 off for just $397 or 3 payments of $133. And I want to take a moment here just to mention that this price is going to be going up. you just saw all those future releases, and you just saw that during this event, we just pushed out like multiple releases towards custom tasks. So we're moving along on these. And once we have these future releases done, that lifetime price is going to go up. Seed Time is going to be at a totally different level of its functionality and usability. And eventually, lifetime accounts probably are going to go away completely. So I can't promise that you'll ever see this opportunity again. And so we want to be upfront with you about that as you make that decision, if this is the right time to jump in with a lifetime account for you. Or you can jump in with 1 year of unlimited access with your first year at 40% off at $99. And sneak peek little special trick there. Sorry, the word is skipping my mind. That unlimited yearly level actually continues on at a discount after that $99. Just a little secret. It's not really a secret, but 1 year of basic is normally $84, but you can jump in with your first year for $49. So if you are ready to get started, then click on the link. Someone in our team is going to put the link seedtime.us/join in the chat. And we're going to pin that up to the top of the chat. So if you want to grab that, I would encourage you to do it now while it's still on your mind, so that you don't miss out on jumping in on that. We are going to be leaving this opportunity up for a little while as you're able to watch the replays as well. But I would say jump in, grab your account now while you can. And just a quick reminder that this is backed up by our 30-day money-back guarantee. So either Seed Time makes your gardening so much easier, either you love it and it reduces the stress and the overwhelm in your garden, or shoot us a note, because if it doesn't work for you, hey, we don't want you to be burdened with it either. So we want to take that risk off of your shoulders, put it on our shoulders, and give you this opportunity to try it out for 30 days risk-free, 100%. Otherwise, my friends, hey, now is the time to take your garden to the skies. Let's do this. Let's do it together. Let's grow some amazing food and set up your garden so that you can grow a continual harvest of fresh food out of your garden every single week of the year, all season long. And one of the ways you can get started doing that is by grabbing your Seed Time account at seedtime.us/join. All right. Otherwise, now is time for our homework. Our homework tonight is, number one, choose what kind of protection you want to use in your garden or farm this season. So we just covered a bunch of different options there, and we'll talk about not another option, but one of the things that we have available in the Seed Time store is something called a row cover, and Melissa mentioned it as well. But choose what type of protection, what type of hoop, what type of row cover or plastic that you're going to use on your garden or farm this season. Check out the protection methods that are available in the Seed Time store or our sponsors specials like with Farmer's Friend, and then go live or post in the Facebook group and share your number one takeaway from today. All right. And I'm going to invite Luke back on right now. Luke.
Yo,
let's do this. Let's talk about the Seed Time store, because that actually just led really well into the special little highlight that we want to do in the Seed Time store.
You know me, I love talking about gear and all of those kinds of things. I love farming equipment and gear. That's why I'm cash poor and farming equipment rich, right?
Yeah.
That's how I am. And actually right now I want to save probably 30 to 40 of you guys some money. Okay. Who wants to save money in the chat? Half of you guys were saying, man, I would buy so many more seeds from you guys if your shipping wasn't so high. I'm going to tell you a hack. Is that okay, Paul? Can I tell them a hack?
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
You guys, we have like 10 different companies shipping from all over the place. If you pick one company and buy more than 5 seed packets, you're probably getting free shipping. Peaceful Valley, if you get 5 seed packets, free shipping. If you get 3, you're going to have a flat rate shipping cost of like $5. If you get 5, free shipping. Do the math. It's brilliant. Buy 5 seed packets or more from Peaceful Valley and you will have free shipping. Haha, there it is.
Yeah.
Saving you money today. right now. And
Yeah,
while we're
and that
talking,
is, I'll just highlight, Luke, right there, that is specifically with Peaceful Valley. My
Mhm.
Gardener, I think it has like a 1995. If you get more than 1995, you get free shipping. With organic, with
high mowing.
High Mowing, thank you. The organic
Yeah.
one, Southern Exposure, they're both organic actually. Southern Exposure and High Mowing, you can get free shipping over $50. So Peaceful Valley really is the best deal when it comes to free shipping. 5 packets. There you go.
Just be thankful you're not a farmer and spending like $3 to $5 grand on seed like I do every year.
Yep.
Okay, that just hurts. Everyone's crying now. Okay, speaking about crying and good deals, let's talk about the Modern Grower Quick Hoop, our featured item in the store. These quick hoops are the best for wind protection because, like many people I've seen in the chat say, hey, on a windy day, what do we do with this fabric? And Kiriel said, hey, you go to your neighbors and ask for your fabric back because it probably blew off, right? With these quick hoops in their unique design of locking in that fabric, it will stay over your crops, okay? It can handle quite a bit of wind and you can put any kind of fabric on it. So we are selling a Frost Fighter. That's the Modern Grower. Insect netting, shade cloth, and greenhouse plastic. That's all available in the Seed Time store. These hoops are very, very cool. Check them out. See some videos on them.
those hoops.
Yep. And all of those kinds of coverings fit on the hoop. Okay. Very, very cool. Check these out. I highly, highly recommend it. If you're a small grower, get probably the 12 hoops and you can either put them all on a line or you can cut this fabric. This fabric cuts with scissors. Very, very easy to use. Highly recommend this product. Okay. These are very, very cool. Quick hoops, low tunnels. You can get them at seedtime.us/sale. And with that, are we ready for another giveaway? Another Oprah moment?
It is the next slide on the slide
another
deck.
giveaway.
Another giveaway.
All right, what's the word? What's the word now? You pick it.
WGC.
WGC. All right, yeah, do it.
Winter Garden Challenge.
Well, don't spell it all out.
Yeah, just WGC. WGC.
WGC. I think that's
WGC. 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 Yes, yes, yes.
I'm entering. I'm going right now. I'm entering. If I win, I'll give it away to somebody.
All right, sounds cool. Maybe I should enter too. I want to sprout it. Actually, I have one already. So.
Okay, give him a minute. Give him a minute. While we're doing that minute, I do want to answer a couple questions that were in that chat while we're letting him write that down,
Let's
Paul.
do it. Let's do it.
I had one ready.
There were a number of questions about garlic.
Yes, that was what it was. Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah.
Where's the garlic? How do I input garlic? What can I do with garlic? Oh, no.
So I am going to grab a link here to a help doc of ours that has garlic. I don't know if you were going to start.
A lot of people are
diving
wondering
into that
why
later.
garlic isn't on there. Too.
Yeah.
If I post it in the chat now, it's going to disappear. So I'll post the link a little bit later when things have calmed down.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
So
what else are we
one
talking?
reason garlic is not in our list of crops is because it's an overwintered one, and it doesn't make a lot of difference. It doesn't make as much difference when it's seeded. You could have it put in the ground a month apart, and you'll still be harvesting at pretty much the same time.
Mm-hmm. It may not get as big bulbs, but it's going to harvest probably at a pretty similar time. And because it's overwintered, we can't, it's a lot harder for us. Everybody's winter is a different length, and it's harder for us to figure out exactly how to estimate when that harvest time is going to be on the other side of that season for you.
We just haven't been able to figure that out.
So once we get weather data integrated, I think that we'll be able to do a lot more of that kind of stuff, and that will be really awesome. But we didn't want to just add garlic and say it's 110 days to maturity, and then it says that you're going to be harvesting it in the middle of December, and then you're going to think that Seed Time is just a really dumb program, because that's not going to happen, right? So we just said, hey, we're not going to put it in right now. You can add it as a custom crop, And I'm going to share with you a link that is going to walk you step by step through how to do that and how to move the harvest time to the next year so that you can see that easily.
So
But
it's going to be a similar situation for overwintered strawberries,
overwintered onions.
and
Yep.
overwintered cover crops.
Exactly.
Anything that's overwintered like that.
Very cool. I think we're ready for the giveaway.
Let's do it. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. And the winner
Come on, Luke.
is Eddie.
Eddie.
Wheeler.
Hey, congratulations, Eddie. Super excited for you.
Yeah.
1 year of unlimited access to Seed Time. You could do so much with that. Please make the most of it, Eddie. We would love to, we're here. We're here as your support. So reach out to us anytime. Eddie, please email support@seedtime.us. Eddie Wheeler, email us so that we can get that access to you for your 1 year of unlimited access to Seed Time. Excited for you.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
Okay, a
Mm.
couple other things that people are asking. Are you able to repost the homework? The homework at the end, the last week, is to go out and winter garden. Right? Yeah, everything's trained. Your homework is to go and do now.
Start your
Like,
seeds.
Yes, indeed.
pick your crop protection and start getting to it.
Yes. Yeah. And we will post that homework. There's going to be a link to that homework in the challenge dashboard. So keep an eye out for that. Just before we go into, we have some time. We're going to grab a couple question and answers here as well. But just before we go into that, I do want to just personally say a huge thank you to our entire Seed Time team. And I want to start by saying that it's a huge privilege to be able to work with you, Dad.
It's a privilege for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've been working together for a while
For
now,
quite a while.
and I feel like that's
Started in the garden.
you bring the wisdom, and I bring some little bit of the energy, but
Paul
really
brings
the
the
wisdom
tech.
comes from
He's
you.
got a lot of wisdom too.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a huge privilege. And that being said, as Seed Time has grown, our team has grown, as you can see on the screen here. And I just want to do a quick little intro and shout out to every single one of the people in our team, because we could never put an event like this together without them. You'll see the first one on the list here is Natasha, my wife, and the best personal assistant, friend, wife, best person in the world. Hun, I'm so proud to be your husband, and thank you for what you've done to help pull this off.
She does quite a bit more than just support Paul.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, we got 3 kids. Life is crazy. She's an amazing.
No, I mean she's actually contributing to Seed.
Oh,
Time,
yeah.
not just
Yeah.
keeping you alive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
family running.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shelby is our all-star customer support rep. So many of you have heard from her. Give her a little hand in the chat too. If you've been in communication with Shelby, she does so much. Luke, huge thank you to you. I guess that you jumped off here, but I want to just say a huge thank you to Luke. This event would not have happened the way that it has happened without Luke. He is
Yeah.
the one that has networked and pulled together every single one of our speakers, reached out to them, built those relationships with them, invited them, pulled them in, nurtured them. And so I've got to say that if it wasn't for Luke, like, there would be a lot less of the value that you are getting from this event. So Luke, huge thank you for every single thing that you have done here with this as well. Thank you to David. David is my brother-in-law, and he is our store manager. And so when you are ordering stuff in the store, he's your right-hand man. He's there to take care of you, and he has done so much to get all of my gardener seeds in there. It was like 1,500 new seed packets that we're adding to the store.
I don't know if any of you have noticed that our store has, I don't know, I'm going to say it's more than doubled.
Yeah, yeah.
In the
We-
last,
Well, we've gone from last year like 3 or 4 vendors, maybe 5 vendors, to 20 vendors to 25 vendors in the last week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yes. And a huge thank you to Brianna, who has done so much on the back end with our graphics, with if you are on our Instagram, you're going to see Brianna on there because she is helping run our social media. She's done video editing for the interviews, so much on the back end there to help pull this off together. And huge thank you to Sean, one of our newest team members. We're super stoked to have Sean, who also is my brother and Natasha's my brother-in-law, Natasha's brother, who has come on and saved my skin with helping with organizing and sending out all the emails every single day, and making sure that the web page is updated and all the videos uploaded there. Like, this would not have happened as smoothly as it did without Sean's input here as well. Sean's brother is Joshua, who's been on our team for quite some time. He manages our finances, which is an incredibly important role with the company as well. And yeah, can't do it without that as well. So huge thank you to you, Joshua. And then Andre and Zhao down at the bottom here are our developers that are at the actual masterminds behind what you see and use in Seed Time when you are clicking and adding crops. Like, they're the ones that make that happen. And by the way, it's brilliant minds, because it is an extremely complex program that we're trying to make as simple as possible on the front end for you, but on the back end, there's a lot of stuff going on that is very, very complex. Alexander here is our design guy who has done the UI UX design work for Seed Time, and huge thank you.
The interface that you actually see. The other guys do the back end. That's the actual programming.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So huge thank you to Alexander, and a huge thank you to Tudor, who is our project manager and keeps all of our heads straight and going
for the development.
For the development itself. It's this is our little development team down here. And yeah, he helps with managing your feedback even, right? Like all of the bug reports and stuff like that comes in. We got to organize that, put it on tickets so our developers get to it and all of that kind of stuff. So huge thank you to Tudor. And I wanted to say finally a huge thank you to every single one of you, because an event like this would not be what it is without you. As a team, we're here to serve you, and it's our privilege, it's our honor, it's our joy to be able to serve you and to try and make winter gardening easier for you. But like I said, an event like this, if we came here and there was nobody watching and nobody saw it, and nobody, you know, there would be no point in doing it. And so this event ultimately is all about you and all about the Seed Time community and building our Seed Time community. And that includes everyone, whether you're on a free Seed Time account or a paid Seed Time account. We're here to help build you, support you, uplift you, and walk with you step by step in your gardening journey. So
we want to see more gardens.
Yeah, absolutely.
More people in the garden.
And while we're there, can I give a shameless, I'm that shameless guy. Let's give a big hand for Paul and Edwin, the leaders of the crew, right? It takes a crew, but it would not be anything without those guys, right? Seed Time is their brainchild. They are the geniuses behind it. We are just excited to be a part of the ride, right?
Well, thanks, Luke. Thank you.
And on that note, if you can do us a favor, if you can go to all the different social media network areas out on the World Wide Web, right? I need you to click like, subscribe, smash the thumbs up, go to Trustpilot, leave us a rating or a review. That is everything for marketing in today's day and age. And so if you can just do that for us, it would be huge. We appreciate any little bump, any little high five, attaboy, attagirl, you know, go fight, win. We appreciate that.
Fuels our fire. You know, when we hear back from people like you that something like this has made a difference in your life, that just is the fuel behind what we do. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Luke. Yeah, really appreciate that.
Yep.
And I would say, hey, should we hit a couple more questions before we wrap up for the night?
Happy to do it. If your question didn't get answered, we can go ahead and jump in more on Seed Time questions or more gardening questions.
You were going to show them how to do the garlic, or a link to the help document.
Oh yeah,
the help doc. If you can throw the help doc, I'll answer a garden question. Some people were asking, how much mulch is too much mulch? Can you get too much? And then what kinds of mulch do you use? For insulation, I would suggest just shooting for that 6 to 8 inches on mulch. Depending on what crop it is, you're not really going to get too much, but it's just more work. You're not going to get any added value past a certain point. So about 6 to 8 inches is really good on mulch. Some of you guys were asking on using pine needles or any evergreen leaf material, which is not really leaf, but it is, right? Edwin, would you like to talk on pine needles? I know you and I have had conversations about this before.
Yeah, some people are concerned that pine needles are going to make their soil acidic. I haven't really seen that in practice, and Luke says he hasn't either.
Yeah, the big thing with, I mean, a forest naturally will take care of itself, and it's not going to overdo anything. So on pine needles, what I would encourage you is don't work them into the soil. Just let them rest on the soil.
And that goes for any mulch.
For almost all mulch. You're just letting it sit on top of that soil. You know, some of the nutrients that are there might leach in, but then that carbon isn't going to bind with all that nitrogen that might be there. So you'll be good to go. 6 to 8 inches. Feel free to use whatever you want. The only things that I wouldn't recommend, there are some specific species of wood bark that is toxic, black walnuts being one of those. I wouldn't recommend black walnut. And most often, if you're near a lot of sawmills, I wouldn't recommend any green sawdust. Sawdust doesn't have enough airflow in there, and it can kind of smother out a lot of your space. It doesn't leave enough room to breathe. So sawdust, I don't really recommend. You can use some sawdust in aisles, but I would use a little bit sparingly, and definitely make sure it's aged. Okay. Beyond that one, Paul, did you get it up?
Almost. I posted it in the chat. Yep.
Okay. I'll unpin the one that's up. And can somebody find it and pin?
I'll add it again.
Posted? Okay. We had a ton of questions regarding mammals and how to deal with fuzzy, furry creatures in your garden. How do we deal with raccoons? You know, the banded Lone Rangers coming out there to steal.
Somebody said, how come none of the presenters have to deal with any of these animals?
I have 4 children, and I run my house like a military boot camp. And while my children are below 10 years old, they have shifts 3 hours long with a 22 rifle, and they navigate around the garden all night long on shifts because, well, you know, that's just how we roll in Southeast Missouri. So we don't have any problems at all. No, we face all of them. We face all kinds of stuff, from rats to voles to gophers to you name it. I've faced it. I've lost entire crops overnight, where I checked one night in a field of corn ready to harvest the next day, came out and it was gone, completely eaten, every single ear by a bunch of deer. You name it in the book, I have messed it up, right?
I remember one season, John's sons did a patch of sweet corn, and they were hosting some dogs for somebody, and they slept down in that sweet corn with the dogs as it was coming ripe. And one night the coons came in and just cleaned them out. I don't know if they bribed the dogs or what, but I part of the reason for sharing this story is that I found that dogs are one of the best ways to make sure that you don't have raccoon problems, but you have to have the right kind of dog. Not all dogs are going to chase them. So you have to, and the same with the other animals. If you're relying on dogs, make sure you get a kind of a breed that will either hunt them or chase them, whatever.
Yeah, many dogs actually add more problem to your garden than they're worth, in my opinion. You know, either digging up crops or messing them up.
We had some dogs that would regularly kill raccoons and armadillos, and we would find a mound of fresh earth in one of our garden beds. The bed was all torn up, and but we kind of felt like it was worth the sacrifice.
depending on your conscience and where you're at in the journey and how much of a frustration it is, you can choose to eradicate them by something. If it's just a distraction, you have to really, and by distraction, I mean like a fence or a barrier or physical barrier. You have to really do it. You have to put something in place. That's why most of us small scale farmers really like tunnels, because it adds a lot of protection against most of these critters, with the exceptions of rodents. And then we can just fight a rodent. I don't know about you, but I feel a whole lot better about using a mouse trap or a vole trap or a gopher trap than I do about shooting an animal. While I still do sometimes practice the 3 S's, the context is kind of the same. You have to make a judgment call on what's good for the ecosystem, what's good for the environment, what are the populations, and what can that handle if the populations are low or are they extremely high. It really, really depends on where you're located. I've seen areas, for example, when I was in Arizona, there was a year where I eradicated over 55 skunks in my area in a year's time. And that was just a little tiny bit. Okay. So that I didn't even scratch the surface. It was just a skunkademic, right? A terrible thing. And so anyway, for those in the chat that were wondering what the 3 S's are, it's shoot, shovel, and shut up. Okay. I'm not saying anything more on that.
Oh boy. All right. Do we have any other questions that we should hit on before we wrap up? I mean, there's tons of questions in the chat here for sure.
The one thing that we needed to correct, and if you can highlight people, if you can bring up one more time the /challenge page to where you can navigate people. I think there were a few things of updates in regards to our slides that may have been on wrong days. If you could do that, that would be terrific.
All right, here we go. So this is the seedtime.us/challenge. You use these days to navigate across. If for some reason, so this is day 1's homework, day 1 slides. If for some reason you download one of these and it was like the wrong day, please shoot us a support note. I know there was one that was the wrong day that I just fixed earlier today. So I think that they're all day 3, and day 4, day 3. See, I need to fix that one. Okay. So
no, it says day 4.
It does say day 4, but the actual link is to day 3. So thank you for letting us know stuff like that so we can go fix it and we'll get you the right slides there. So just go back, refresh it a while later, and we should get those updated for you.
Okay. Somebody was having trouble creating a second layout in SeedTime.
Yeah, good question. So the way that SeedTime works is that everything is kind of under calendar accounts. So each calendar has a layout, a task list, a journal tied to it. And then you can create another calendar with its own layout, task list, journal, etc. We don't currently have a way to create multiple layouts within the one calendar, although that has been asked multiple times from the community. And so it's something that we're definitely considering as a future release, 100%.
For all those that were asking about the strawberry courses and the onion sets and garlic for when we're going to be releasing those in the store, be looking at the very end of this month. We are now in August, everyone. Woo-wee. August 26th. We actually had to change the date earlier this week, even though we announced it on the 27th. Michael is in a town. He's like City Hall or some sort of government official, city council. And so we are going to be doing that strawberry webinar on August 26th. Check your email for that, and we'll be doing it. It's going to be around that week.
I see a couple of questions here just related to the new release of being able to delete tasks in SeedTime. So I'll just go over those real quickly. Someone is asking, if you delete a task, can you get it back? And the answer is yes, you can. So if you are in the advanced settings here and you see those tasks are deleted, if you click restore defaults right up here, next from the advanced settings here. If you click restore defaults, it's going to restore both of those tasks back. You can delete, again, the one that you didn't want or something like that. That being said,
It'll restore other things too.
it does. It restores everything. It restores your seating date and all that kind of stuff as well. So that being said, this is an incremental advancement in seat time. So coming up soon, you're going to actually be able to add your own custom tasks. So you could add it back if you wanted to as well.
So for the time being, if you delete it, it's aside from restoring defaults, you can't
add it back without restoring the defaults. Yep.
In the not too far distant future,
you'd be able to manually add it back.
Able to, manually create whatever you want there and put it back in.
Yeah. Someone was asking, how do I turn those tasks off? We don't yet have a way to automatically turn off tasks, but coming up soon, you could create your own workflow and just say that you only always use seeding, transplanting, and harvesting. Then you can save that workflow here. This is probably going to change the wording here. Instead of just planting method, it would be like planting workflow or whatever. And so you'd be able to have your own custom workflow or even just override the default seed time workflow. We're still figuring all of that out. But then you'd be able to just use that workflow on a consistent basis without those other tasks. Otherwise, right now, you can use the task filter here to turn off certain tasks you don't want to see and leave the other ones on. So that's a way that you can, quotes, turn them off right now. So just wanted to touch on some of those questions that were coming through here.
Yeah, excellent. A lot of people were asking about, hey, when is Trifecta going to be available in the store? Check in with us later next week, and hopefully we should get that up. We're trying to figure out some of the shipping requirements for the weights and everything that needed to get taken care of. Also, in regards to the sale, Paul, how long does the 20% seed sale last in the store?
Yeah, so everything is going to be available for 1 week for you. So we're going to keep this open until Thursday of next week. You'll get reminders, you'll get notices about it as things are wrapping up, because as that sale wraps up, like everything's going to wrap up. The sale in the Seed Time store, the lifetime ability to get a lifetime account to Seed Time, that's going to be ending. The discount to get 40% off your first year, that's going to be ending. And if you would like to get the replays of this challenge, maybe I should just share that real quickly here as well. Up at the top of the Winter Garden Challenge dashboard, there's a button that says own the recordings. If not, you can still get lifetime access here. You can click that link to go get lifetime access to the recordings. Depending on when you signed up, you still may be able to get it for a donation, or that may have expired for you and it would be $68. However, once everything closes out, then it is going to, it's either going to go completely away and you just can't buy them, or the price is going to go up. So all of those things are going to be ending in a week. So keep an eye out for that.
But if you have purchased any upgrade, a lifetime account, anything like that, your 20% discount on seeds has no termination in sight.
Whoa. Did you just hear that? If you purchase a lifetime account to Seed Time, you get a forever discount in the Seed Time store.
It's always there. Always there.
Depending on how much you buy, that might pay for your account right there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd like to go ahead and do the shout out. If you're really struggling with, the biggest offer and the biggest value, which is that lifetime account, which we don't always offer, jump in at a monthly rate. If you're a paying subscriber, you're going to get that discount as well. So, man, if you can't jump in there and you just want to, take it one little step at a time, we're there for you. Jump in on a monthly account, and you can do that for $13 a month.
Yeah, as little as $10 a month.
Or if you want to upgrade to unlimited, 13.
Yep.
Which is
because it's discounted right now, so it's really not that much more expensive.
Right. Go for it. Do it.
Yes.
Awesome. I think that's the majority of them. I know that
Sounds
we're
good. I think it's about time to wrap it up. We appreciate every single one of you. This is the last day of the Winter Garden Challenge, and you
That's
all have
it.
been
What a week.
troopers. Yeah, to stick with it through the entire time. And so I just want to give one last shout out to you. Thank you so much. Like Luke said before, if you can go through to our different social accounts and go like them, go to Instagram, go follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you have the kindness of your heart to go over and give us a review on Trustpilot, and to please review our mobile apps in the app stores, or just pick one of those, because that is a lot to do. It's so encouraging to us, and it helps us as we build this product out. Otherwise, go grab your Seed Time accounts, and let's do this. Let's grow some winter gardens, and we can't wait to see what you do with them. Keep in touch. Show us your pictures, and we can't wait to see them.
Yes.
Any other last minute words, Dad, Luke, as we close out?
Keep growing. Keep growing. Keep doing it.
Go plant your seeds.
Go plant your seeds. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. And until next time, keep growing. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.